I'd like to note too, dieting in itself, aka starving yourself of food, never a good idea, ever. Unarguable, absolutely unarguable that starving yourself of food is a good idea in any way, shape, or form. The only, and I mean the only exception to this rule, is if you have an excessive thyroid disorder where your body cannot regulate your metabolism or ability to control your actual digestion of food and what amount of the fat and so forth remains in your body. And in that case, I would say, yeah, cutting down on food a lot is a good idea, but don't fucking starve yourself. Just eat better. Don't eat less, just eat better. That's all there is to it. Dieting, and when I mean dieting here again, I mean just completely removing like a large portion of the calories you eat per day out of your diet and food in general and stuff like that is a bad idea because, you know, if you were like eating like, you know, 8,000, 7,000, 5,000 calories a day or whatever, and you're not like a bodybuilder or in extremely strenuous sports or something else of that nature, then, you know, okay, you can cut down a little bit. But don't go down to like 400 calories a day or fucking 800 calories a day or some shit like that. Don't do that. Because all you're going to achieve is starving your body of nutrients, which means then, since your body's going to need carbohydrates and protein to actually move and actually function, it's going to start eating your muscle. And it's going to start eating your fucking actual bones. It's going to start making your bones weak. That's why anorexic people have very, very brittle bones and they have frequent bone damage and breaks and fractures. So, I mean, don't do it. And I'm going to do a whole video on this later subject here, but low-carb diets are the stupidest fucking thing I've ever seen. Seriously. Like, that shit shouldn't even be legal. Low-carbohydrate diets shouldn't even be fucking legal. Period. Like, the people advertising those are out of their fucking mind. Like, it actually pisses me off that that shit has become so popular. Just, like, I don't even know where to even begin with that. You need carbohydrates to fucking move. You need them to actually get up off your ass and walk and make food and take a shit. You need carbohydrates. It's like fuel for your car. If you don't have carbohydrates, you can't fucking do anything. And if you try to do something, guess what happens? There's no carbohydrates, so your body just fucking eats your own body to be able to do anything. The only reason low carbohydrate diets make any sense is because if you eat a metric fuck ton of bad carbohydrates, like starches and donuts and shit like that, and then you sit on your ass, yeah, it turns into fat. But if you get up and move around, the carbohydrates get burned as energy. And then the protein from the food you eat is what gets turned into muscle and what makes you strong. And if you don't have any fucking carbohydrates, then protein can get turned into carbohydrates, but carbohydrates can't get turned into protein. Unless I got that backwards, because I'm just fucking flipping a dip, but I'm pretty sure that's right. So, don't do low carbohydrate diets, for God's sake. Just don't fucking do them, alright? If you're obese, if you're overweight, diet. Like, I mean, cut down your calorie intake some, but don't go down to like 400 calories a day, and don't go low carbohydrate. Just eat better. Just eat better carbohydrates, and then try and exercise some. I realize there's exceptions, like if you're like 900 pounds and you can't get out of bed, but for most people, especially like if you're like some like 130 pound chick and you're like, I'm so fat, and you're really not fat if you're 130 pounds, by the way. Like, that's undebatable. Like, don't even fucking tell me you're fat if you're 130 pounds at all. Like, unless you're like 2 feet tall or something like that and you're 130 pounds, then we might be talking about dieting then if you're 130 pounds and you're 2 feet tall. But I'd be more concerned about the fact that you're like a 2 foot tall, you know, adult and you don't have dwarfism. If you have dwarfism and you're 130 pounds, then maybe that's just the way your body regulates itself, and you shouldn't really try and like push it, because there is something called a set point, which means that your body is generally going to want to go towards that point. It's like, for me, my genetics and my family are very skinny, so no matter how much I try and gain weight, I can't fucking do it. I've tried to eat like 6,000 plus calories a day for weeks. I've tried to eat smoothies that are like protein powder and ice cream and milk and chocolate and Nutella and peanut butter all mixed in there, and I've eaten that like 3 times a day, and it's like 2,000 plus calories a shake plus normal food, and I don't gain any weight. I just don't gain any weight. So, you know, your body's regulated to that shit. And so some people are just naturally genetically predisposed to be a higher weight. And the sad fact about this is back like in ye old, you know, Europe days, people that were high weight, it wasn't even a bad thing. It was actually seen as a sign of royalty or luxury if you were like, you know, of a high weight. Because it meant you didn't have to work, which means you get to sit around all day and eat and not give a fuck. And it's just, if your body's predisposed to it, no matter what you do, then it means your body's going to generally be built for that weight. Now, I'm not saying just give up and don't, you know, try and eat good and don't exercise. I'm saying still do that, but don't be too hard on yourself. You know what I mean? And on that note, too, when we're talking about the royalty stuff, tanning. I'm going to try not to get off. I've already gotten off on a huge tangent. I'm going to save tanning for another video because tanning's fucking stupid, too. Tanning is just as bad as dieting, if not worse. It's fucking... Why does this shit get popular? Why does tanning get popular? I don't get it. I don't get why people like that shit. I don't even comprehend it. I don't fucking understand it. I don't. Anyways, on with the actual game, now that I've completely fucking just raged. Yeah, if you want me to go more in depth about the exercise and dieting thing in a separate video, let me know. And if you want me to go more in depth about the tanning thing, I will go more in depth about that too in a separate video. So, yeah.